All right, welcome to a special episode of North Shore 9. I'm Jim. With me is Donardo and Tyler. And joining us today is the Pirates Director of Amateur Scouting, Justin Horowitz. Justin, thank you so much for hopping on.
Thanks for having me, you guys. Pumped to be here, and I appreciate it. And first of all, thank you guys so much for your interest in Pirates, amateur baseball, the draft, and everything else. I know our guys read all your stuff, listen to your stuff, and it fires them up to hear about the players. So thank you guys for all that you do for us.
Well, yeah, thanks for that. Those are some kind words. Yeah, kind words. That's awesome to hear. But yeah, let's kind of jump right into this. You just finished up your second draft with the Pirates. I was reading an interview that you did with Noah Hiles in the Post-Gazette earlier prior to the draft, and you mentioned that it's your Super Bowl, right? So now that you've wrapped up your second one with the team, what does it feel like to kind of be on the other side of that?
Feels great. It is our Super Bowl, specifically in amateur scouting, and honestly, broadly for the organization. It's a huge day every year. So many people are involved throughout the course of the year with a ton of hard work, effort, and energy go into preparation and process improvement. And then we have obviously the big event, which was condensed from 3 days to 2 days this year. And then it's a quick process after that to get the players signed. You lock in final negotiations, get them up to where they need to be, whether it's Pittsburgh, Florida, physicals and signings. And so that's always a super exciting process as well. Get to know the players a little bit deeper, get them onboarded. And then honestly, in the amateur scouting space specifically, we jump right into scouting the next year's class. It actually, with the pushback draft, we actually start scouting for next year's draft before we even have this year's draft. Yeah, so it really never stops. Honestly, I was here through the signing deadline in Pitt, and then through the trade deadline. And immediately after the trade deadline, I jumped over to the airport, hopped on a bird, and got down to Alabama for East Coast Pro. So it never stops. It's all part of the grind, but it's why we do it, and we love it.
Well, last year you kicked things off by selecting Konnor Griffin. Looking back to draft night, what were your thoughts on Konnor at the time? And did you ever envision he'd emerge as quickly as he has to be the kind of prospect you're seeing just a year later?
Looking back at that day, obviously it was my first draft with the Pirates and running this process. And me personally, I had great conviction in Konnor, mostly from my experience in scouting him the previous summer and then through the spring. Down in Mississippi, got the chance throughout the process to get to know him and build confidence in not only the player that we were getting, but the person that we were getting as well. But I honestly have to give credit to Darren Mazurowski, our area supervisor in the Deep South, who did an incredible job throughout the whole year. Not only scouting Konnor, but like I said, getting to know Konnor, getting to know his family and connections, and getting us all the information that we possibly needed to feel comfortable and confident and excited to be able to select Konnor when we did. I will say that Konnor's talent was undeniable. The 5 tools, everyone talks about it. He could really do it all on a baseball field. And there was some chatter, obviously, about, the hit tool and maybe some swing things that stuck out to a lot of people publicly or in the scouting community broadly. And some of them certainly warranted, but I think what Konnor always did really well even against really good competition the previous summer at a really young age relative to his peers. He made a ton of contact. He always made a ton of contact, and he always made good swing decisions and put together good at-bats. And there are some innate traits there beyond just the freakish athleticism that we really believed could play well in the pro game. And once we were able to get him into our organization and hand him off to our awesome lower level player development staff, and Konnor himself just working really hard to make some small adjustments early on in his pro career, especially offensively, to make the strides he needed to compete and go out and play and have success. And credit to him, credit to our staff, and it's been awesome to see. We're really excited for him. Obviously, first year out, has a long way to go, a lot more to prove. But this year has gone really well for him, and we're proud of him, proud of our people, and just also proud of the way that Konnor has handled himself. It's a lot of pressure. He's a young kid, but he's out there every day working really hard, being a great teammate, a leader, and someone we're just overall extremely excited about and just grateful that he's a Pirate.
Yeah, obviously Konnor gets a lot of credit for what he's done and what he's kind of turned into here as a prospect. But at some points here while you're watching him, do you ever just get maybe a half smile and go, man, we really nailed that pick?
It's fun to think like that. We got to, stay humble and work hard. And the way that I think about it is, what can we learn from the experience, and how can we continue to have success in the ways that we saw with Konnor and apply them to all of our draft picks every year? That's really important to me, continuing to improve our processes, our people. But yeah, it's been fun to watch Konnor play, to succeed. And honestly, it's just even better because of the human being that kid is. He's incredible. He deserves it. He's working his butt off, and he's there for everybody. It's just been fun to watch, and I'm grateful to have, been a little piece of his career arc, and we're just super excited for him, and it's been fun to watch, and we'll see where he goes from here.
You mentioned like taking what you learned from that selection and that draft and implementing it. It's a good transition to this year's draft. So, your first round pick this year, number 6 overall, Seth Hernandez, not a hitter, but a pitcher. But how did you take those things that you learned from last year's draft and carry them over into this year's draft with the selections that you made?
It reinforced a couple of core principles, I think, for me and our staff as a whole. One, that the area scout needs to know that player inside and out, not only from a talent perspective, from a makeup perspective as well. And to really trust our process, what we call all forms, and to find players that check as many boxes as possible for us that we can through the draft. And that can be a challenging exercise. And the deeper down the board you go, obviously fewer boxes tend to be checked, at least in the amateur space. But with Seth, obviously, like you said, being a pitcher instead of a hitter, but still checked a ton of those boxes for us. Some of our core principles when scouting pitching, super athletic, projectable, repeatable delivery, throws a ton of strikes. He has a diverse arsenal. He throws really hard already. He's got a weapon changeup. He can spin 2 different breaking balls. He can land them for strikes, and he knows how to pitch, and he's really poised. And I thought Mark Slaus, our area scout, did an awesome job here. Again, getting to know Seth from day one, and really pounding the table to say this is a human being that is really self-confident. He's adaptable. He is intelligent, and he's very self-aware of what he needs to work on and how he can continue to improve and get better. And those were a lot of the things that we saw in Konnor too. And so obviously different players, different years, different talents, but a lot of the same core principles that we want to stick to from a talent scouting perspective, and then also a makeup perspective.
Obviously, you talked about the stuff that just jumps off the page there for Seth Hernandez. But what was it that separated him at number 6 there? And did you really expect he would fall that far to you guys?
I'll be honest, going into the draft, I did not think he would be there. So needless to say, we were pretty excited when he did get to our pick at 6. What separated him? All of those things I just touched on. Yeah, you're good. All those things I just touched on, and really, I'll highlight one more thing. Being a high school pitcher, high school right-handed pitcher for Corona High School, one of the best high school baseball programs in the country, potentially the number 1 team in the country, with a lot of pressure that comes along with that. And Seth every week just posted, performed, did everything anyone ever asked him to do, and he hit. He was one of the best hitters on the team too. You could turn him in as a prospect on that side of the game as well. And so he answered the bell and gave us confidence, more and more confidence throughout the process, that this kid had the chance to be pretty special. And honestly, there's no ceiling. We don't want to put ceilings on any of our guys, but we really see Seth as someone who has the chance to truly impact the Pirates and the city of Pittsburgh, and hopefully the whole game someday down the road.
By the way, how did they not win the state championship?
For real.
Baseball's hard, and so-called baseball's legit, man. It's one of the most awesome things about our game. I mean, they didn't lose many games. They haven't lost many games over the last few years. They had draft prospects last year. They had a bunch of them this year. Obviously, they have more coming up. But on any given day in Southern California, there are teams out there that can go toe-to-toe with anyone, and it's fun to watch. It's a fun place to scout.
I need whatever's in that water.
It's just warm weather, 12 months a year.
We all do. What are you talking about? Yeah, but like outside of, so obviously with Angel Cervantes, he decided to go to UCLA after the draft. So is that something you knew would be possible? And how did you weigh the risk and still make that decision?
Yes, we did. When we selected Angel, we knew that there was some chance that he would ultimately choose to attend UCLA over going the professional route. But we really wanted to stick to our principle, which is we want to go after the best player on our board at the time. And at that time, at pick 50, Angel clearly was that player for us. We were really excited about him. Our scouts, our player development group, our R&D group, everyone involved in our processes, super excited about Angel and his upside and his potential to be an impact arm for the Pirates. In the moment, it can be very challenging to maneuver through the draft. You're on the clock. You're making a lot of phone calls, agents very heavily involved, other people involved. It's intense. But we came back in the moment to the idea that Angel has the chance to be an impact Pirate, and we're going after impact. So we selected Angel, very excited about Angel. And throughout the course of the signing period, we made what we felt was an aggressive push to bring Angel into the organization. And he ultimately made the decision that what he felt was best for him and his family, which is to attend UCLA. And we wish him all the best. Super excited for him, fully expect him to have a really successful collegiate career and be scouting him again in a few years. And that's his choice, and we fully support that. And what we were able to do on the back end, with the way the draft works, if you don't sign one of the top picks, it's actually protected. So we'll have the 51st pick guaranteed in the 2026 draft, which we're very excited about, what we think is going to be a pretty deep class this year. And we were also able to take some of our savings in the top 10 rounds and go out and sign a couple of our draft picks later on in the signing period, in McLean Moody, a high school projection righty out of Arkansas, and Carter Guast, a high school hitter out of Minnesota. So still really excited about the upside that we were able to land in the draft, despite the way that it played out with Angel. And we're excited about the 51st pick in the draft next year. And then, like I said, we wish Angel all the best for sure.
You talked a little bit about Hernandez. You were surprised that he got to number 6. Outside of him, was there anyone else that you picked later on that you were just like really excited to land, that maybe he's flying under the radar a little bit? You didn't think you had a shot at him. And coming to you as a Louisville fan, why is that Eddie King Jr.?
We'll start with Eddie King Jr. I'll say this. So as you move deeper down the board in the draft, at least personally, I get really excited when we're able to land players that our scouts are really excited about, along with, CPD and R&D, our strength and body team, people that are able to dive a little bit deeper on some of these players down the board than I'm personally able to. So when I see their excitement, that's what fires me up. Because I know that we put in the work, we've done a really good process, and we got a player that hopefully we can capture some value with for the Pirates. So talking about Eddie, Jalen Heath is the area supervisor there. His first year actually in the role, moving from the front office into an area scouting role, and he crushed it all year. Eddie was one of his deeper gut feel guys that he thought had the chance to continue to come on to value. Obviously, he's a kid who's performed at Louisville. There's some juice in his bat. He's physical, he's strong, he's explosive. He can play the corner outfield effectively, may even slot in at center at times too. And at least everything that I've heard, both from Jalen and coming across early in our reports, is that he's an awesome kid. He's super hardworking. He's a great teammate. And he's going to do everything he can to get everything out of his potential. Want me to keep going, other guys? Or
yeah, I'm a huge fan. But yeah, like who's the one guy who stuck out where it was like, man, I did not think he was going to be there?
Yeah. Who did I not think was going to be there? I think the one everyone goes to is Jared Jones in the 9th round, right? Out of LSU. So we'll start there. Jared had an amazing collegiate career, proven winner at an elite collegiate program. And he can do one thing better than almost anybody else can do, which is hit the ball really, really hard and really, really far. And he proved that at the highest level of amateur baseball. I did not think that he would still be there when we were able to select him, but needless to say, obviously he was for whatever reason. And we're super excited that he's a Pirate. Send him right out to High A in Greensboro. And it's a significant challenge for any player to go do that. It's a pretty advanced level, and he's getting challenged, and he's going to know, he knows he needs to make some adjustments to make a little bit more contact. But getting an outlier standout tool deeper in the draft is really hard to do. It just doesn't happen very often anymore. And Jared had that power, and we were pumped to be able to land it in that space of the draft. Another example I can give you in that regard is Dylan Palmer, who we selected in the 11th round out of Hofstra. Dylan is an elite runner, has 80 speed on the 20 to 80 scale that we use. And he's a very instinctual, athletic baseball player that can play a variety of positions, makes a ton of contact, can do a bunch of different things, hits the ball a little bit harder than you'd expect, given his size as well. Unfortunately, he just suffered an injury out in Bradenton, but he was off to a great start, and we're excited about his future as well. Eddie Charles did a great job on him, our area supervisor in the Northeast. And then shout out also Wayne Mathis, who has done a great job with some LSU guys, as you know, over the last few years here.
Yeah, LSU. If we can turn that into a pipeline, yeah, that
good bet to make.
It's
Good
it's
start.
so far.
Yeah. So you mentioned a little bit before about like how crazy draft day can be. Like, kind of take us inside the draft room a little bit. On draft day, is everything pretty much mapped out already, or is it is it as simple as just we're going to stick to our board, or is there still like back and forth conversations happening up until the last minute?
I think every team probably does it a little bit differently. I personally have only been in 2 draft rooms for 2 different teams, but a little snapshot into ours. So we do everything we can to get the draft board lined up prior to the day of the draft. We really believe in preparation, and we feel that puts us in the best place to be able to execute a strategy effectively in the draft itself. We do a lot of simulation work as well to actually prepare for executing upon that strategy. But what makes the draft a super challenging exercise, and honestly also fun, is that it's pretty unpredictable at times. And we saw it at the top of the draft this year alone. And And so in the moment, you stay nimble, you stay flexible, you're on the phone, you're making a bunch of phone calls. It's not just me, it's Ben Charrington, it's all of our assistant GMs, it's other people around the room, it's scouts as we get deeper down the board. You're talking to contacts around the game, you're talking to agents, and you're trying to figure out at a very specific pick that is upcoming and it's moving quick. What's the best move for the Pirates? What's the gamble we want to take, especially in the top 10 rounds where we have a very set bonus pool of what we're able to utilize in terms of money and slot values and things like that. And that can be challenging, and there's a lot of math involved. So it's very fluid, and a lot of people are involved, like I said, and it moves quick. But it's all, again, part of the fun, and just very grateful to have the opportunity to be a part of it. And just honestly, I'm telling you guys, I'm doing the best I possibly can, and the rest of us are doing the best we possibly can in that moment to do everything we possibly can to bring more wins to the Pirates.
You mentioned like the constant back and forth, like you're still bouncing stuff off each other. Like, I guess who ultimately has like that final call? Is it Ben that is like the I mean, eventually there's got to be a guy who makes the decision, right?
Yeah, I think that's fair to say. Ben's got the final call. I mean, our ownership group is involved. Our president, Travis Williams, is involved as well. And Ben's, runs our baseball operations department. And so he definitely has final call. And I will say this, though, Ben is incredibly empowering and trusting of the people that have put in the work and the energy and the effort into our process throughout the year. He's very well aware that he doesn't know the players as well as a lot of people do in that room. So he's empowering, and he trusts us to do our jobs. So we have to go out and execute. I can give him a recommendation in the moment that I truly believe Konnor Griffin is the best choice for the Pirates and we should do this. And I have to live with that recommendation, and Ben has to trust his gut and go with whatever decision he believes is in the best interest of the Pirates. But it's a team effort, and very, very grateful that we have the opportunity to be able to make recommendations like that.
So first off, we might need to call you in to help DiNardo on some of these fantasy drafts, because I've seen him draft 2 kickers.
That can't be going well.
So let's go ahead and keep that in the back of the mind. But in all seriousness, no. Obviously, in the big league level, the Pirates have struggled at the plate to this point. At some point, is there ever a thought of drafting for need? Because you hear fans like us that might say, just draft every single hitter. One of them's going to work out. But I know it's probably never really a thought to go after need, but can you just clear that up a little bit?
Yeah, certainly. Generally, it's a really, really tough strategy to execute to fill major league holes through the draft, immediate major league holes in the draft. I'll be the first to admit, I think a lot of us will be readily able to admit that we need to score more runs in the big leagues. Like, that is readily apparent, right? And also that our pitching development group and our scouting group has done a great job in identifying and developing arms that are already having some serious impact on our major league team. But yeah, we need to score more runs and we need to win more games. No doubt about it. Is the draft the best way to solve that problem? Honestly, over the long term, yeah, I personally believe that's true. But in the short term, it can be an extremely risky strategy to try to, like I said, fill those holes through the draft. Scouting is really hard, and we're wrong a lot more than we're right. And these players, in most cases, are quite a ways away from the big leagues. The skill level jumps that are required as you move your way up through the minor leagues and ultimately up to the big leagues is huge. Even coming out of places like the SEC where the baseball is really, really good. But we see it every day. These kids face new challenges every level they move. And the numbers say that most of them, unfortunately, don't work out. It's a really challenging game, and the odds are against you, and you have to overcome a lot of challenges to have success. And hitting is even harder to figure out. So to that end, like I said, do we need to score more runs? Yes. Do we want to target traits in hitters that we think have the chance to come into our system and develop and move quickly, hopefully, and hopefully in the near term make some sort of positive impact on our major league team? Yes, absolutely. But just drafting to like patch a little bit of a leak doesn't lead to long-term success in our opinions. So we're doing everything we can to build it from the ground up and like I said, build a sustainable winner with impact players on the offensive and pitching side of the game.
So this kind of goes with that. I mean, something I think a lot of fans have certainly talked about and people among baseball, but like for a lot of the 2000s, the Pirates drafts have been scrutinized. They really haven't turned a lot of the draftees into major leaguers, kind of lower end of, WAR produced and such. So what's the secret sauce to Justin Horowitz? What do you plan to do to change that? Your desire to change that for the future?
Certainly a team effort. I'm one small piece of this, obviously. And there's a ton of work that goes in every aspect of the organization. Challenging question to answer. Won't lie to you. But I will say, at least from my experience here, moving into what will be my third draft cycle, we've made some really positive strides, in my opinion, in our process improvement and the evaluation side. And that's in domestic scouting specifically, obviously what I oversee, but I'm seeing it in other places too. I'm seeing it in international scouting and pro scouting and player development. On the hitting side specifically, I think the work that we're seeing being done with Konnor Griffin is actually a great example at the lower levels, someone who obviously needed to make a few minor adjustments to his swing. And we had people in place that have learned and grown that have had the chance to make a positive impact on a high impact potential player. And we're now starting to see some of these results. So it's a team effort. We need to stay in constant communication. We can never talk enough. We need to be on the same page. In scouting, we need to be going out and targeting and hunting those innate traits that we want to bring into our organization, and then let our skill and development team develop around those innate traits. And I think if we really stick to that philosophy and do everything we can to gather all of that information and then go out and execute in the draft or in the international market or in the pro space and hand them off to the people that have a chance to make a difference in the CPD side, I think personally, then we're setting ourselves up for more success.
So Justin Humblewitz is what we should call you now.
Sure. Go for it.
That answer.
Speaking of, I guess, the humbleness, the MLB Pipeline ranked your all's draft number 2 overall. So, does that recognition? What does that recognition mean for you and your group? Do you guys celebrate that, or is it there's the work's not really done yet?
More the latter, to be honest. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's nice to hear. It's cool to see that people are recognizing a lot of the work that goes into the execution of our draft. But we're not good enough to rest on our laurels. We're just not. We have work to do. And so we're going out every day to try to get better. And it's great that we're seeing some progress, hopefully, and hopefully we see actual results as those guys make their way through the minor league system and then ultimately to the big leagues to have a positive impact. But we're trying to win in Pittsburgh. And that means we got more work to do.
All right, Justin, I got one last question for you myself. Ben was on an MLB Trade Rumor podcast yesterday, and I believe his words were he hasn't quite adopted French fries on sandwiches or salads yet. So I would just like to give you the opportunity to answer that question correctly.
Correctly? Oh, man. I don't know how to answer this question politically correctly.
Are you a French fries on sandwich kind of guy?
I am a French fry on almost anything kind of guy. I'll tell you that. So I grew up in San Diego. I don't know if you guys have ever had a California burrito. Big deal. Highly recommend. French fries and a carne asada burrito with some cheese, guacamole, hot salsa. That's my favorite French fry. meal, but yes, I think what Pittsburgh has going on here is honestly a close second for me. I hope that doesn't,
That's
get me
fair enough.
your listeners.
That's fair. That's fair. I've had some pretty good California burritos in San Diego, so I'll give you that one.
I appreciate it.
What about the
All
salad?
right, Justin.
What was that?
We put French fries on salads, though.
That I haven't done. Is that something I should be doing?
Oh yeah. Oh
You
yeah.
should do
Gotta
that.
dabble in it.
Head down to Eaton Park. and
I've done
get
the
yourself-
sandwiches.
Yeah.
Come on, you can't have a healthy salad. What are you doing?
Yeah. What are we doing here?
You have your salad with fries and ranch smothered all over it. Yeah.
Sounds great. I'll give it a go. I promise. I'll report back next time you guys have me on.
All right. Next time we'll ask about the salad. But no, thanks so much for hopping on here. As I said, it was great chatting with you. Best of luck. You're about to head on a trip, a scouting trip. So best of luck on that trip. And it sounds like the work's already being done for the 2026 draft class.
That's right. Yep. Heading to Japan tomorrow. I'll get the chance to see the under 18 tournament out there. So a lot of players that will actually be high priority prospects in next year's draft. So really excited about that, and get some MPB targets and some international targets. So work doesn't stop. We're rolling. And like I said, we're doing everything we can to find some wins. So we'll keep going. All right.
Awesome.
Thanks, guys. Seriously, appreciate all you do. And thank you for having me. It's been fun. And anytime you want to do it, let me know.
Sounds good.
Appreciate
you guys.
Sure.
Thank you.
Later.
Good one.
All right, that wraps up this episode of North Shore 9. Thanks so much for tuning in. Whether you're listening on the podcast or catching us on YouTube, if you enjoyed the show, please give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. It really helps us grow. And if you're listening on the podcast, a quick review goes a long way in helping others find the show. Plus, be sure to tell a friend about us. There's always room for more here in the NS9 community. And for those looking to support us a little more, consider joining our Patreon, become an MVP member, and get exclusive perks while helping us continue to bring you more of the Pirates content you love. Thanks again for all your support, and let's go Bucks.